The snake-shaped shadow shook violently at this moment, finally cracking the ground and escaping from Yi Ming's feet. Damn! Dare to step me under your feet, you must die. Quote. The mirror seemed angry, and opened a white light. The white light rose into the air and immediately stood still, emitting light. Under the light, a shadow appeared immediately under Yi Ming's feet. The shadow is exactly what the mirror needs most. Tu Ying. Quote. Suddenly, the snake-shaped shadow shot under Yi Ming's feet, turned into a million needles, and stabbed at Yi Ming's shadow. No, he is going to kill Yi Ming himself through the shadow. Quote. Ding Wei was shocked, and the man almost jumped up. The voice did not fall. Yi Ming's shadow twisted. It moved like a stream of water, attached to his body, and then merged into the body. At this moment, the mirror's attack was immediately missed, all the black needles hit the ground, and the rocks were splashing. What? He can control the shadows. Quote. The audience exclaimed, not understanding how he did it. Jin Xuanbai laughed and said, the Hall Master, the young master's feelings are amazing. For him, even that light is a power. For him, as long as it is power, he can control it. Once with control of the light, his means of killing the enemy will be endless, and the enemy will not know how to die. Quote. Yi Ming continued to lift his foot and slammed, but without the medium of shadow, the mirror couldn't get at Yi Ming at all, and could only keep running away. A good platform was trampled by Yi Ming, and the surface was cracked, as if crushed by a giant monster. Brush. Quote. Suddenly, the mirror sank into the ground. He roared angrily, and then burst out with white gas, condensing into a young man in white, with a temperament very different from before. This should be the mirror's Zhanqi. Yi Ming actually pushed his Zhanqi out. It's amazing. Quote. Someone sighed. Forcing my mysterious body to shoot, you are enough to be proud. Quote. Staring at Yi Ming in the mirror, a heavy white flame emanated from the whole body. Yi Ming didn't say a word, still smiling, and then stepped out. As soon as he took a step, people suddenly came behind the mirror and printed it on the mirror. This style, one of his magical powers, blood fingerprints. Wire. Quote. A blood-colored palm print appeared behind the mirror. Where the palm print was, the clothes shattered, exposing the corroded flesh. This blood palm print was born from the blood sacred, blood seal, powerful and weird, even the mirror cannot escape. The mirror hurts, and the flames around him are like a fire snake, and they immediately roll towards Yi Ming to swallow him. As soon as the flames arrived, Yi Ming suddenly disappeared, and his people seemed to become a thin sheet of paper, appearing at the four corners of the ring at the same time. It turned out that he exhibited a small magical power of the Buddhist gate, supernatural power. This magical power can be used to enter 4 dimensions and 8 dimensions, and cooperate with his footwork. The mirror was very angry when he had 2 short knives condensed by flames in his hand, and he rushed to Yi Ming as soon as he whistled. Stop it! Someone vocalized, and stop the. The mirror immediately converged, and jumped off the ring without saying a word. Well, the mirror of the 5 elements gods is not a failure, why do you suddenly give up? Someone asked strangely. They probably think it's difficult to win. They don't want the mirror to continue wasting energy. After all, there are still many competitions later, and they can't spend all their energy on Yi Ming. The sighted person saw the reason and said, fluttered off the platform and returned to. This time, everyone looked at him differently. Yi Ming has proven to the people present that, although he is not very famous, he is not inferior to anyone, and even forced the powerful mirrors to giving up this competition. When the mirror returned to the 5 elements gods, a majestic minister with red face and purple beard asked, what's the matter? Mirror lowered her head and said, left, this person's strength is not under me. If I want to beat him, I also have to pay a considerable price, or the 2 are in 1. The left phase waved his hand. Forget it, you can't make a big mistake because of a small loss, it's okay to let him win for a while. At this point, it was late, and the host announced immediately, today's trial ends here and tomorrow will continue. As soon as the words fell, the immortal lord shook his sleeves, and all members of the temple, including Bao Fanfan and Hu San, were taken away and returned to the temple in no time. Even after returning to the temple, Yi Ming was still in that state. Ding Wei looked a little worried and asked Jin Xuanbai, "Master, is Yi Ming okay? When will he realize?" "Nobody knows, maybe one day, maybe 10 days, or even 10 months, he said. You can rest assured that no matter how long, once he is fully aware, he will get great benefits." Ding Wei said. "Yi Ming only played 3 games today, there are dozens to play, I hope he can continue to play tomorrow." Talking, a majestic voice came from outside the immortal temple, "Immortal Lord. Come to ask you somebody." In front of the crowd, a light curtain appeared, and the Lord of God and a subordinate appeared on the light curtain, standing in the air, hiding in an offensive state. The Divine Master used divine power to transmit the voice to the temple, and everyone in the temple heard it. "Your temple has a junior named Yi Ming. He is a wanted man in the 5 elements gods and must be arrested and brought to justice." Shenju Shen said, "I hope the Immortal Temple can take the overall situation as the priority to avoid conflicts between the 2 parties." The Immortal Temple said in a loud voice, "Yi Ming is my temple, and the temple would rather choose to fight with the gods than give up on him." The Lord's face changed, and he said, "Su Beijian, do you really want to put the temple on the opposite side of the god?" The main name of the Immortal Temple is Su Beijian, and he said lightly, "If the temple can't even protect its heirs, what are the features of the world? Yu Wenbo, although you are a long life 8 realm, but my temple still has the means to chop you. If you don't believe it, just shoot." Quote. Su Beijian's answer is domineering, "Let's fight if we are not convinced." Even though the Lord of God was sitting on the continent for more than half a day, his momentum was still frustrated. After all, he did not dare to really attack the temple. The foundation of the temple is not only the Tianyuan continent, but also has influence in other large worlds. If the 2 sides really fight, the dynasty will not take advantage at all, but it will benefit the other 3 gods. Yu Wenbo frowned. "Your temple can protect him for a while, but he can't protect him forever. You don't need to protect him for a lifetime, Yi Ming will cut you like a dog." Su Beijian said coldly, "His achievements, you can't catch up with Yu Wenbo." Yu Wenbo laughed. "Okay. I'll see if that kid can live 100 years. After that, the group suddenly disappeared, apparently giving up asking Yi Ming. Yi Ming still didn't know all this, and he was still immersed in his own feelings. No one bothered him, even Bao Fan and Hu San'er avoided it far away. When the sun rose the next day, Yi Ming suddenly sighed and said, "Budo is really wonderful. Little brother, have you got through?" A group of people immediately surrounded from all directions. It turned out that everyone didn't leave at all, waiting for results in the distance. As soon as Yi Ming was awake, they ran over. Yi Ming smiled slightly. "What is Wutong?" Ding Wei waited for a moment, and she asked strangely, "What did you not realize? What are you doing this evening?" "Understand myself, understand the world, understand martial arts," Yi Ming said lightly. "I was like a newborn baby, unable to walk, see nothing, so I have been learning, walking, speaking, learning. Yes, it was only yesterday that I suddenly knew the world." Quote. Yi Ming's words left everyone confused and couldn't understand what he was saying. Bao Fanfan scratched his head and said, "Boss, I didn't understand. Can you be a little bit more straightforward? After this enlightenment, has your strength improved?" Yi Ming smiled. "Of course, the strength has improved. As for how much, I really don't know. I will try again soon, and you will see my changes." After half an hour, the group of immortal temples appeared again in the test room on the palace, still sitting in their original position. The host briefly said a few words, and the test officially started. First round. The host's words just said 3 words. The Emperor of the 5 elements suddenly interrupted him, and Shen said, "When will this compare? When will the 4 lords of the divine land be better than everyone?" The 4 lords of the divine land looked at each other and understood each other's intentions. Although that mirror is powerful, it obviously has restrictions on the number of battles and time, and it is more favorable for him to decide one time. The four big men looked at each other, with unpredictable deep smiles on their faces. Okay, just as the emperor said, a win or a loss. The origin of the Lord of the Sea of God said, instead of the other three gods promised. God Bo Wenbo laughed and asked, who should play in that first game? Ming came to power first, and said lightly, since it is a winning or losing game, I don't hide my strength, so come first. Jinuo stepped onto the stage and laughed. Brother Yi, I would like to fight with you, please enlighten me. Don't dare to be. Yi Ming was slightly polite. Brother Ji, to show respect, I won't show mercy, please don't mind. Nuo laughed. Thanks to my high opinion, I will not be soft. Hope I don't hurt Brother Yi. Although they were polite in their mouths, the meaning in the words was very tough, and no one would give in. Three strange lights fell from the void and fell into Jinu's body. In a hurry, his momentum climbed steadily, reaching an astonishing degree, with three halos emerging behind him. Great. This Jinuo has condensed the light of the source, indicating that his source of power has been cultivated to the fifth reopening. Legend has it that the power of the source of the fifth power can kill the gods. I do not know if it is true or false. Someone low say. He has three sources of light. Yi Ming's one is going to be unlucky. Can he be stronger gods? Some people worry about Yi Ming. Feeling the momentum of the other side, Yi Ming smiled slightly, a majestic trend, rising up from him. Behind him, a golden throne faintly appeared, releasing a domineering and rich martial arts breath. Throne of martial arts, someone exclaimed. Everyone stood up and stared at the throne inconceivably. Throne of martial arts. Something. Even some martial arts gods and gods have never heard of it, and have never seen it. They have asked people around them, but only few people know the martial arts throne. At the same time, the monks present, all warriors who were trained below the martial arts, can feel the royal spirit from the throne, and they all have a strong feeling of worshipping Yi Ming. Even those martial arts gods are attracted by Yi Ming and want to get closer, so it seems that they can obtain supreme glory. Boss, what's wrong? I think he has suddenly become unattainable now. Bao Fanfan said in shock, very shocked. At this moment, the strength of Yi Ming's aura seems not to be under the power of Jin Xuanbai. Jin Xuanbai whispered. It was the throne of martial arts, which was formed by the power of Yi Ming. This shows that Yi Ming's strength not only possesses spirituality but also has dignity, so it can consolidate the throne itself, as if the world shows its extraordinariness. Quote. Bao Fanfan was lowered. Obviously he could not understand the meaning of the psychic power in the body. He scratched his head and said, oh, this is the case. The boss told me before that he can reach when he is vigorous. Yuan Jin was born, why didn't he condense the throne at that time? Quote. Ding Wei looked at Bao Fanfan with a look of contempt. You know the fart. Yuan Jin is born, but Yuan Jin has a certain degree of spirituality. Now Xiao Ba, his body and strength are smarter than himself. Even if he is closed focusing on it, you can defeat powerful enemies without thinking about it, and haven't you listened to the master? The main thing is that it has dignity. Quote. Have dignity, Bao Fanchi said. So what, can dignity be eaten? Say that, you idiots, look at you high. Ding Wei shook her head again and again, an expression that is truly rotten. You see that the Tianyuan continent we are in is actually controlled by God's will, and God's dignity is inviolable. This is dignity. Same. The reason is that when a person's body and strength also have dignity, it means that he has become a world of his own. This achievement cannot be achieved by cultivation. It is talent, luck, and hundreds of thousands of years. A genius who has just come out. Having said so much, do you now understand how powerful your boss is? Quote. Bao Wenfan was shocked. That's how it happened. It came out hundreds of thousands of years. So, what level have those people who have condensed the throne of martial arts before? Jin Xuanbai. There are very few people who consolidate the throne of martial arts. They are true martial arts monarchs. They swallow mountains and rivers and become kings everywhere. As for their achievements, I dare not pretend that they are all in the history of Tianyuan, the top 10 peerless figures. Quote. Compared with those who are close, the audience is even more surprised. They never expected that they would encounter such a wonderful story. Just on the ring, there was actually someone condensing the throne of martial arts. This is an extraordinary thing, and it will be famous forever. You say, Yi Ming sits on the throne of martial arts. Isn't everyone else his opponent? That's not necessarily true. The throne of Budo is more about potential than strength. Not only was the people around him shocked, Jinuo on the field was also very shocked. In front of Yi Ming, he felt very small. Yi Ming formed an absolute suppression on him, and he felt it was very difficult to breathe. Brother Yi, you are amazing. You have become the legendary king of martial arts, the true martial arts monarch. No one has this glory for hundreds of thousands of years. However, I will not give up. Even if you are the king, I fight with you too. Zinuo Fei was not afraid, but he was very wary, and his eyes seemed to be flashing with strange light. Jin Xuanbai's eyebrows were twisted together and he said, this Jinyu's ambition is really big, and he wants to take Yi Ming's throne of martial arts. Bao Fanfan paused. Can the throne of martial arts be taken away? Jin Xuanbai, it is like a crown. It is a symbol of glory. If you meet a person who is more determined, more qualified, and has greater potential, he will be transferred and worn by others. Bao Wenfan was anxious. What to do? Will the boss's throne be taken away by Jinuo? In his opinion, Jinuo is extremely dangerous, his strength is not under Yi Ming, and extremely dangerous. I believe in Yi Ming. Ding Wei clenched her fists. For such a genius, no one can take away his glory. And as far as I know, hasn't anyone in history taken the throne of martial arts? Jin Xuanbai said. Of course, but the person who has the throne is often jealous of the heavens, hoping that he can change his fortune. Off the court, the Five Elements Emperor, contemporary god Lord Yu Wenbo looked cold. It's a matter of Haoshan education, or his previous attitude. This Yi Ming is already his enemy. This son must be removed, otherwise there will be endless troubles. Yu Wenbo sent a message to a minister, right phase, after this incident, immediately give an order to the middle of the month, be sure to remove this son. His Majesty the Five Elements, there are two prime ministers, of which the left is in charge of civil servants and the right is in charge of military attachés. Yua Zhonglo is a killer organization under the right-handed rule. It not only has the power of longevity, but also has the ability to invite the masters of Tianweishan. Generally, none of the people stared at Yua Zhonglo has survived. Yi Ming had his hands on his back, and the whole person was in a mysterious state. Every cell on his body was cheering. He wanted to go to a higher level to explore the unknown martial arts road. All these feelings changed his temperament greatly, shining in the crowd. In his eyes, Zinuo, who is as old and real as he is, seems to be a child who needs his advice to grow. Take a shot, I will point out your deficiencies and let your martial arts enter. Yi Ming with a very gentle tone. He could even be said to be kind, like an elder talking to a junior. Feeling Yi Ming's attitude, Jin Nuo, who had always been calm, was actually annoyed, and said, I don't need your guidance, take the trick. Probably because of self-esteem, or perhaps the martial temperament released by Yi Ming affected him. Jin Nuo simply punched out. He had to compete with Yi Ming. If he can beat Yi Ming in boxing, he will be sure to take the opponent's throne of martial arts. With a slight movement of Yi Ming's figure, he approached Jinuo as if he had been standing in front of each other. The bodies of the two were close to each other. Jinuo immediately collided with his shoulder, and Yi Ming's arm moved forward. Boom! An outburst of mighty power broke out. This was Yi Ming's full force and unreserved shot. The two judged against each other, and whether they were constantly in strength, skill, or momentum, they were not on the same level. Zinuo, like a shell, was blown away in one fell swoop and smashed heavily under the ring. Everyone was stunned. Jinuo is recognized as a super genius. His strength seems to be better than the other big geniuses. Why did he lose in one move? Did he give it up on purpose? However, this assumption is obviously impossible to establish. After all, this test has huge interests. Even if Jinuo is willing, the source Shanhai will not agree. Jin Nuo climbed from the ground with a stunned look. He seemed to still remember Yi Ming's blow and couldn't understand how the other party defeated him. Yi Ming's eyes glanced at the crowd. Although there were many powers of longevity in the scene, his eyes could look at any one person, and he would never think that the longevity would be high. Just like a little tiger, although it has not grown up, its current strength is limited, but when it comes to meeting a wolf, the little tiger will never be afraid, because the tiger is a tiger after all. Like I'm going to keep on guarding, who is going to compete with me next? He asked. Moment, a voice sounded in Yi Ming's ears. Yi Ming, Zhao Wuji of Eternal Mountain Yu, but you must give in. Yi Ming did not answer, but looked in the direction of the supreme wind. It turned out that the person who secretly transmitted the sound was the highest wind, the one who had been having trouble with him. Seeing Yi Ming's calmness, the supreme wind was a bit anxious, and Shen said, Yi Ming, you shouldn't want Luo Bingxian to be in trouble. Huh, she thought it would be okay to return to the yin and yang religion. I only say one word, yin and yang, you must obediently send her over. Quote. Yi Ming looked scornful, as if looking at a pig. You have threatened me more than once with a friend beside me, which one succeeded? The wind is supreme, and you dare to move her hair. I guarantee you will not live for 3 years, then you will die in great pain. Quote. Dungeon, dare you threaten me? Supreme Wind stood up and said fiercely, I'll let someone smash her up and play hard. Make her, that kind of scene, can you stand it? Yi Ming shook his head. You are still such an idiot. I am not the Yi Ming who was before, but the heir to the immortal temple. The heir to the temple will be threatened. The words did not fall. The palace master Su Beijian suddenly probed into the void and grabbed a woman from which space. The beauty were unparalleled. It was Luo Bingxian. Luo Bingxian was in a coma and fell asleep quietly. The wind is dead and the whole person is dead. What's going on? How did the other party find Luo Bingxian? Luo Bingxian landed next to the host, and the host Su Bei smiled slightly, turned to an upper elder and said, This girl is born with beautiful bones and good qualifications. Elder Yun, don't you want to accept a female disciple? How is this doll? Quote. Among the elders in the temple was a woman who had never spoken. At this moment, when she looked up, it was only seen that the elder was very young and had a beautiful appearance, and seemed to be better than Luo Bingxian. The elder glanced and said, Good seedling, my Taoist tradition has been passed down, thank you Lord. Su Beijian laughed. Yi Ming, this girl will be your sister in the future, and no one will dare to hurt her again. In fact, Yi Ming has the throne of martial arts, and the happiest person is Su Beijian. Supreme Wind dared to threaten Yi Ming with Luo Bingxian. In order to avoid Yi Ming's worries, he put Luo Bingxian into the temple on the spot, making her a disciple of the temple. Yi Ming naturally understood Su Beijian's consideration, and he nodded. Thank you, Lord Dian. After that, his eyes were fixed on the wind, his eyes flashed with murder. In his opinion, it was time to end it. The wind is supreme, you are a god, dare you fight me? Yi Ming asked calmly. What? He is going to challenge the gods, is he crazy? Although Wu Jun's beheading of gods happens from time to time, it is done under certain conditions, such as by killing arrays. Moreover, those gods who are killed are generally more powerful. Weak. Yes, I know this wind is supreme. The practice is the blood shadow magic skill. At present, it is the 3 realms of law and heaven, and the strength is very strong. Yi Ming actually challenged him like this, too much power. The asterisk is the god, is a high-level life state. If it is a one-on-one, real confrontation, regardless of how talented the martial arts are, the gods will win. Quote. Yi Ming, don't be impulsive, Jin Xuanbai exclaimed. The 3 realms of Fatian are not as simple as you think. Yi Ming smiled. Master, rest assured, I have my reason. Jin Xuanbai's heart moved, looking at the main hall. Su Beijian nodded slightly, and actually agreed with Yi Ming's approach. In the face of Yi Ming's challenge, the wind first burst into a sudden, then, ha, laughed, and then his laughter came to an abrupt end, staring at Yi Ming and asking, "You, a little martial artist, dare to challenge the gods? Okay, very good. Now that you are dying, I will fulfill you." Quote. Had the confidence of the god, and the wind came to the ring. The killing was surging and he wanted to take the opportunity to get rid of Yi Ming. The wind is supreme, don't be careless. The right-handed voice said, the emperor intends to get rid of this. If you can do it, it must be a great achievement. Supreme Wind heard it even more excited, and said, please rest assured that I am practicing the blood shadow magic, and it will be easy to kill him. Yi Ming stretched his bones slowly, and then secretly urged Ruyi robes. Millions of Fadian coins burned in the small space of the robes, transformed into majestic and pure mana, flowed into the ground, and quickly condensed and killed. The gods in the three realms of law and heaven are so powerful that Yi Ming never thought of fighting with them. But outsiders don't know, he has Ruyi robes. This robe is scattered into air, gathered and shaped, can be large, small, and can be laid at any time. It is very difficult to prevent. Of course, this also depends on the user's wisdom and ability. For example, Yi Ming, he casually laid out a large weakly bloodthirsty array. This big Zhaodian blood-blowing array was evolved from his blood lineage and Dazhaodian swordsmanship. As long as he is fully prepared, he can kill the gods above Fadian's triplet, let alone the Supreme Wind. Feng Supreme looked at Yi Ming with a cat-and-mouse expression, and laughed and asked, why, don't you think I'm full of vitality and I can't start? What is a god? The spirit and physical body have been separated from the lower class, how can every child have an understanding? Quote. Yi Ming walked around and stopped. He sighed and said, the wind is supreme, I don't understand how you live to this day. Wonderful Wind frowned. Boy, you are dead right away, so let me say a few more words. But before killing you, I would like to ask, after you die, do these beautiful women need me to take care of them for you? Quote. Ha ha. After that, the wind laughed arrogantly, as if Yi Ming was already a dead man, and he could hold the right and the left, completely revenge. I am really sad for Emperor Qinglong, who gave birth to garbage like you. Yi Ming shook his head. It is better to clean up the garbage in time. Boom. The wind hasn't started yet. Yi Ming's battle array has been launched. The entire platform is lit up, the dense rune chains are emerging on the ground, winding like a vine, and the wind is like lightning. Twine. Supreme Wind is full of contempt, saying, just rely on this area to kill the battlefield, you want to deal with me. Seeing that the rune chain had entangled him completely, he was working his divine power. He only heard the sound of bang, and the chain exploded directly, seemingly vulnerable. Ha ha ha, Yi Ming, how? What other means do you have? Feng asked scornfully, although I use it, the first 3 tricks, I can let you. Yi Ming sighed softly and said, the wind is supreme, you are only shattered by illusions. The wind was stunned, only to discover that those rune chains actually appeared again, and there were more. He frowned slightly, and said, what illusions will destroy me? Boom. He stepped on the ground fiercely with his feet. Violent force broke into the ground, and wanted to break the base and completely crush the large array. However, after this force entered the ground, it actually activated the large array, and a huge ***** vortex appeared on the ground, and the vortex sent a huge suction. In the face of this vortex, the wind changed greatly and shouted, Yi Ming, how do you know the blood-sucking law? Yi Ming shook his head. To be precise, your so-called blood-sucking Dafa is just a part of this blood-finding array. What you see now is a blood-finishing array, a legal array dedicated to killing blood races. The Supreme Wind wants to urge the skill, but dare not, because once he exercises the skill that is issued will be swallowed by the vortex. Even if he doesn't do his best, he feels that there is a force in his body that is about to move and is about to leave him. Yi Ming took a look, and watched coldly, saying, "You practice the blood shadow skill, don't you eat the skills of others? Unfortunately, your skills are not pure, and you can't completely digest them. Now, you have absorbed the skills of others before. Slowly stripped." Quote. Brush. A beam of blood flew from the supreme wind and into the vortex. He immediately screamed and suffered tremendous pain, and at the same time his practice fell a little. Brush. When the first blood light flew away, the body of the supreme wind seemed to unlock the lock, and more blood light flew out and was thrown into the vortex. The wind had no fear on his face. The big array under Yi Mingbu was not very powerful. He should have been able to fight. However, this vortex is specifically aimed at him, making him powerful and useless, and dare not make it completely passive. Damn. Why do you have a blood lineage? Stop now. He began to growl, his voice trembling with fear. Yi Ming's expression was calm, and he urged a large array silently, saying, "Eat all you have to spit out. The wind is supreme. What do you think you will be like?" The wind broke and shouted, "Yi Ming, I will stop playing with you. Stop now, stop." Yi Ming shook his head. "Sorry, it's too late." Boom. The vortex oscillates and generates a huge suction force. The wind seems to explode, and countless blood shadows fly into the vortex. And the wind is supreme, his clothes have been broken, his face is aging, and he has turned into a goose-like crane with an old-looking old man. He was skinny, his eyes hollow, and he was struggling to breathe. "You." He pointed to Yi Ming, his eyes filled with despair and hatred. Yi Ming calmly said, "The wind is supreme, this is you. You can't take the skill and blood of others, and you will return it. I won't let you go as a ghost." Suddenly Feng Chong wailed suddenly, without abilities, and aging like this, he felt that he was no longer interesting and made people look a bit pitiful. Yi Ming shook his head. "Let's go, I won't kill you." Ha ha ha. Feng smirked, walked tremblingly to the platform, and then fell straight down. Thump. The ring was so high that he landed on his head when he landed, and he died on the spot. The five elements god was heading in the direction, and no one stood out to look. An old ordinary person is worthless to them, and no one wants to take a closer look. The wind died, and the scene was quiet. Yi Ming turned slowly, he looked into the mirror and asked calmly, "How dare you fight me?" Jing slowly stood up. He knew that there would be a battle between the two, but he had confidence in himself. He came to Yantai and proudly said, "I admit that I underestimated you before, but I still want to beat you." Yi Ming shook his head. "If yesterday, you might have a chance or two. But today, you have no chance. Mirror Body is a genius of tolerance civilization. In the same realm, there is almost no rival. Why is it so looked down upon?" He suddenly snorted and said, "It's useless to say big words, I'll let you see what is the real magical power of forbearing Tao." Boom. Under the ground, two lights suddenly burst, one white light, representing his mysterious body, one blue light, representing his legal body, and the three bodies combined into one. In a hurry, a force of dominance unfolded, and it seemed to be able to crush everything. This is the strongest mirror. In the final analysis, ninja is still stronger than martial arts. I don't know if Yi Ming can win. At the scene, the martial arts gathered together and stared nervously at the ring. Yesterday Yi Ming revealed the extraordinary potential of martial arts, especially after having the throne of martial arts today. These martial arts gods have regarded him as an idol-like existence, naturally hope that he can win. "You can use my strongest power, you are proud of yourself," Jing proudly said. "Yi Ming, it's nothing to beat you. I won't be proud." "Okay, don't talk nonsense, go ahead." Jing Senran smiled and asked, "Do you know why I am called Mirror?" Yi Ming, "I don't know, if you want to say, I don't mind listening." Mirror Road. In our world of forbearance, every person will have a gift of forbearance before being born, and my talent is mirroring. The words did not fall, the mirror suddenly split into two, and the two split into four, constantly illusion. Instantly, his shadow was everywhere on the entire ring, making it impossible to distinguish which was true and which was false. Every mirror has half of my combat power. I'd like to see how you can beat me. All the mirrors of the mirror speak at the same time, the sound is loud and the ears buzz. This is a mirror image in the way of forbearance, which is very difficult. Jin Xuanbai raised his eyebrows slightly. However, as soon as Yi Ming finds his real body, he can kill him in one shot. Because at this moment, the real body of the mirror is the weakest, the same strength as the mirror, only half left. Quote. It's a very powerful method. Yi Ming was still so calm. He looked at dozens of mirrors. If I can't find your true body, there is almost no chance of defeating you. It's too late for you to regret it now. Jing's tone was very cold. Today, I will chop you. Cut me. You have no chance. Yi Ming looked at the other side as if looking at a corpse. What you call a mighty forbearance, in my eyes, is nothing more than a martial arts path with special characteristics. Mirror kill. The mirror didn't seem to want to mingle with Yi Mingyu anymore. All his mirror images moved with lightning, and the whole site was full of his shadow. Countless mirrors form a large array of magical killings, and it is necessary to completely kill Yi Ming. In the face of the chaos, seemingly indistinguishable from the real body, Yi Ming's expression was calm. The strange light flickered in his eyes, and he did not know when he had urged the eyes of hope. The technique of looking at Qi can see the Qi of all things. Although the mirror image was created by the secret method, in his opinion, it has the same luck. So in his eyes, there is a layer of blue air above all the mirror images, these impetuous and unstable, which means that they will not exist for a long time. In the middle of countless mirrors, only one figure is very lucky and tense, but slightly pale gray. This means that the popularity of this long-lasting, long-term, but recently bad luck, will encounter disaster. In a short time, Yi Ming locked his opponent's true body through the eyes of hope. At this moment, Jing's true body is only half of his normal strength. Yi Ming can only pinpoint the target and can easily defeat the opponent. You are the one. Yi Ming gave a cold hum, and his body was shaking, and his magical powers were brought to the extreme, killing each other step by step, and the phantom appeared, and passed directly through countless mirrors. Was it discovered? For a moment, Jing's heart became vigilant. Unfortunately, he has no time to think. Brush. One palm, somehow pressed on the back of his true body, violent force poured in, breaking through his numerous defenses, causing serious injuries. The latter screamed, and Junfei flew out like a price increase. He fell heavily on the ground and opened a big mouthful of blood. What? Actually, he chose to start directly. How did he judge? The viewer was all shocked and did not understand how Yi Ming did it, except for the power of the longevity in the presence. Almost no one can see which one is the mirror image and which one is the real body, so everyone is very strange. Jin Xuanbai laughed. Yi Ming's victory indicates that the temple has 30% of all controversial territories with the dynasty. His feats can be regarded as great feats and will be passed down through the ages for every generation of the temple. Heir to be remembered. Little brother, good job. He congratulated happily. At this moment, the face of the Five Elements Emperor must be as ugly as possible. He originally wanted to maximize the strength of the mirror through a one-time test so as to easily take away all the benefits. But now it seems that his purpose cannot be achieved at all, and the details of the four gods are much stronger than he expected, because he underestimated his opponent. On the ground below the platform, although the mirror was not bad, he stood up slowly. He looked at Yi Ming, his eyes were full of incredibleness. Even in the Endurance civilization, he is considered a top 10 genius among the younger generation. Today, he has repeatedly lost to Yi Ming, a martial arts figure, and he cannot accept such a result deep in his heart. How did you do that? He asked quietly. It doesn't matter, Yi Ming said lightly. You have lost. Jing no longer asked, returning silently, always lowering his head, wondering whether he was ashamed or thinking. However, the Five Elements Emperor did not blame him. After all, the mirror was also a genius he had borrowed. The Emperor is assured that at the Wu Zun stage, my brother will be able to sweep the audience. Jing respectfully said. The Five Elements Emperor said, how is your brother better than you? Jing Jing said in awe. The brother's cultivation is placed on the Tianyuan continent, which is probably the sacred martial arts saint. However, the martial arts on your mainland is afraid that he can't even take one move. My brother once slaughtered with one person, 3 powerful men of law and heaven. Kill 3 people who live in the heavens and the 6 realms. The 5 elements emperor was surprised, he really is so powerful. The mirror said, yes. My brother, who has entered the trial ground and achieved a very high ranking, I am far worse than him. Who's next? Yi Ming continued to ask. Very dull, but it made every testee feel tremendous pressure. Zhao Wuoyuqi eternally walked out slowly. Although he was not sure, he had to stand up at this moment. In fact, the only real dispute between the Immortal Temple and the Immortal Temple is the 5 elements and the Eternal Mountain. As for the comparison between the Source Shanhai and Tongtian Shantu, it is just liquidating some old accounts. People in Shanhai have killed people in the temple, people in the temple have also killed people in Shanhai, and so on. These old years of grievances have been resolved by the 2 parties one by one. Of course, the losing party has to pay some price for the previous behavior. As for what kind of price, it will vary from case to case. Either lose money or cede benefits, and so on. In other words, there is only one battle left in the main battle now, which is the battle with the eternal Shan Zhao Wuoyuqi. This battle is very important. Because as long as Yi Ming wins this battle, nearly 20% of the territory of the Mira world will belong to the Immortal Temple. These fights were too exciting and short, and Bao Bao even forgot to place a bet. However, compared with Yi Ming's victory, everything is not important. At this moment, he chooses to watch the battle silently, cheering up for Yi Ming. Boss, you must win. He yelled, his fists clenching. As a little man at the bottom, Yi Ming is simply the hope of his life. Zhao Wuji stepped onto the stage slowly. Like a mirror, 2 phosgenes were put into the body in the void, and his strength soared to the extreme. An overwhelming breath enveloped the audience, and was not weaker than the mirror, or even better. Yi Ming, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. I underestimated you from the beginning. Zhao Wuqi slowly said, I heard Zhang Tai mention you a long time ago, but I didn't care about it then. Yi Ming, my account with Mrs. Zhang will slowly find him in the future. But I'm curious. Before the wind prevailed, I threatened me with someone and let me confess in front of you. What is the relationship between him and you? I remember, he's not from the Eternal Mountain. Quote. It's very simple, we are good friends, and I promise to recommend him to join the Eternal God Mountain. Overall, God Mountain is more capable than your temple to train talented people and has a stronger appeal to the world's warriors. From this point of view, you choose not to join the temple, said the other side. Yi Ming, the temple will flourish in my hands, so what you say means nothing to me. Zhao Wuoyuqi shrugged. Forget it, it's useless to say more. In the end, you still have to speak with strength. Although you defeated the mirror, I didn't take him seriously. How can you compare with my Shandao exercises? Today I will let you see what the immortal way is. Quote. Yi Ming has been exposed to the core exercises of Shandao civilization for a long time. The teacher Yu Fei of Sanqingmen gave him a Sanqing Zhengfa. He often studied and had a lot of understanding. To him now, what Buddhist ways and immortals are all martial arts methods. He doesn't think how great other civilizations are. On the contrary, he concluded that the martial arts civilization will rise. Even if it does not rise in his hands, it will rise in the hands of other geniuses in the future. Around Zhao Wuoyuqi, 4 swords of different colors appeared, moving slowly around him, a sharp sword, rising in his body. Well, this Zhao Wuoyuqi is actually a sword fairy. Many Eternal Life exclaimed. Bao Fanfan was nervous and asked, what is the sword fairy? Is it terrible? Zhao Xin. Zhanxian is the most powerful branch of the monk's practice. Zhanxian is divided into 3 schools: Xinzong, Kazong, and Zhanzong. This Zhao Wuoyuqi is obviously a master of Kazong. Qigong is hard to beat, right? Bao Fan swallowed. The so-called air sect is to collect the Zheng Jin's air with the lungs, condensing the invisible killing sword. You see that Zhao Wou Qi's four-handed swords are all condensed with Zheng Jin's air, but there are different methods in it that's it. Zhao Xin seemed to understand quite well, explaining, however, I have confidence in the young master, he will win. Yi Ming naturally recognized the other's means at a glance, and nodded, it's actually sword spirit. In fact, there is sword spirit cultivation in martial arts civilization, such as the Sword Pond Holy Land in the 9 holy places. Their sword energy is very powerful. But compared to Zhanxian, it is still too rough to compare with it. You know a lot about Shandao. Just don't know, how many moves can you support under my sword? Zhao Wuji said in a cold voice, and his body shape shook, and the four-handed sword rose into the sky, transfigured. Infinite sword light, then, like a comet, smashed down towards Yi Ming. Yi Ming was shocked by the speed and strength. Sophisticated swordsmanship. His body was straight, like a sword, ready to face a powerful attack from the other side. The splendid sword spirit fell from the sky, sharp and unparalleled, and the momentum was magnificent. Yi Ming stared blankly at the front, seemingly ignoring the Zhangguang, until Zhangguang approached, and then pressed his hand into the air. With the palm of his hand, Fu Wenming is indestructible. With the Ruyi robe, he immediately set up a killing array, and Yangtian Chidi killed it. This Yangtian Chidi formation was derived from Yangtian Chidi's sword. In terms of the 5 elements, Huo Kejin and Chidi sword can defeat each other's Zheng Jin Zhanqi. A fire dragon spurted out from the Yangtian Red Emperor formation, and ran into a brilliant sword. This sword energy was developed by Zhao Wuji for decades. If a person's eyesight is good enough to see small things, he will find that his so-called sword qi is actually composed of countless microscopic metal particles. If these dust particles are enlarged, they all have a regular structure, and the corners are sharp, which easily cuts the enemy. At this time, the metal dust was burned by the fire dragon, and instantly turned into a liquid, then uncontrollably condensed into a silver metal ball the size of a fist, and slammed into Yi Ming. Snapped. The metal ball fell on Yi Ming's palm like that, and the power attached to it disappeared. He smiled and put the metal ball in his arms, saying, this kind of congenital pendant gold is expensive, and I'm welcome. The expression on Zhao Wuji's face froze. He didn't understand why his own mighty swordsmanship had been broken. What's more terrible is that he has been absorbed by the other party for decades. He widened his eyes, stared at Yi Ming, and was full of anger. Yi Ming calmly said, the one who controls the sword's qi is still power, so breaking your sword's qi is not difficult, just fire attack. Zhao Wou Qi snorted heavily, it's nothing to have the throne of martial arts. Take me another trick. It's not necessary. Yi Ming shook his head, then stomped lightly. Boom. The ground was tilted, and Zhao Wou Qi's body shook slightly. At the moment of disappointment, Yi Ming's palm was already holding his chest. An extremely powerful force was unsent in his palm. Once sent, Zhao Wuji would be seriously injured. At this moment, Zhao Wuji was about to urge another means of killing. Unfortunately, Yi Ming was suddenly in front of him, and he could be seriously injured at any time. His face was very ugly, his nervous body slowly relaxed, and he slowly said, I lost. Yi Ming closed his palm and said, a sign. What? Yi Ming won again. Someone exclaimed. He is a real martial art genius. You find that you don't have any magical powers and exercises. They all seem to be the same in front of him. They can be easily solved. Is this the essence of martial arts? I suddenly regretted that I ended the martial arts hastily and stepped to the level of the gods. Some people said, if this son succeeds in martial arts, I can hardly like how strong he is. At the scene, a group of martial arts gods stared at Yi Ming with all eyes, afraid that he would run away. One martial art said, most of you, we have spent many years in the initial stage of Wu Shen, and we have little hope of knowing that we can go higher. However, after seeing Yi Wujun's means, I seem to have seen hope again. Yeah, another martial art said with excitement, he united the throne of martial arts, which means that he is very likely to be exposed to martial arts third. If he can really take that step, it will be our gospel. We martial gods should have been the strongest beings in the world. We were born to fight. But we have been suppressed by the gods who are universal, and it seems that there is no future without becoming gods. Now Yi Wujun is born, he must be. It will change this situation and take a path of true Valkyrie. Quote. Yes, I also have confidence in Yi Ming. The powers that have entered the martial arts double or even triple are not the true martial arts in the sky. Most of them are born out of Shinto and are not suitable for most martial arts. Hope Yi Ming he can come up with a way of martial arts that is suitable for warriors all over the world. In this way, martial arts will be qualified to compete with the gods, even above them. Quote. At this point, the Lord of the Heavenly Earth and the Lord of the Original Sea of God nodded each other to the Lord of Immortal Hall, and the two parties seemed to have reached an agreement secretly. Subsequently, the Lord of the Temple shouted, "The Immortal Temple, the source of the Sea of God, and the heaven and earth, no more tests, the two sides reconcile." In other words, Yi Ming didn't need to fight with Ji Yu Hao or Jinuo anymore, and their grievances would be cancelled. After all, there is not much grievance between the three parties, but some small contradictions formed over time are not worth moving. Yi Ming knew nothing was happening to him, walked down the ring and returned to the seat. The host announced at this time, "This is the end of today's test. Tomorrow's test will be held tomorrow." After that, the forces left, and only the Immortal Temple was surrounded by a group of martial arts. "We ask to see Yi Wujun." A martial art chanted. This time, Su Beijian no longer prevented these people from approaching Yi Ming. There are probably 50 or 60 martial arts gods, respectfully standing in front of Yi Ming, all of them deeply respecting him. Although Yi Ming's cultivation is only a martial arts monarch, he is a true martial arts monarch, which deserves everyone's respect. "What's your advice?" he asked quietly, scanning the crowd. "A Valkyrie. We hope Yi Wujun can join Valkyrie Valley." As soon as this remark came out, even the Lord of the Temple was moved, and those mighty people who wanted to leave also stopped and looked here. Obviously, Valkyrie Valley is a very important place with huge influence. Yi Ming asked, "Where is Wushan Valley? I have never heard of it." Na Wushen laughed. "Yi Wujun, Wushen Valley is the home of real martial arts people. There are countless martial arts, and most of them are martial art geniuses, with unique martial arts thoughts. We martial arts valley, there are martial arts too strong, there are some great opportunities to break through to the triple." Quote. Yi Ming was startled. Are there any too powerful martial arts? Yes. In terms of strength, Valkyrie Valley is not under the four great gods. However, Valkyrie Valley generally only recruits Genius Valkyrie, and General Valkyrie is not qualified to enter, and Valkyrie who is not firm in martial arts will also be unable to enter. Yi Ming, what are the benefits of joining Wushan Valley? The people in Valkyrie Valley come from various forces and are relatively loosely organized, but everyone has no conflict of interest and the relationship is very close. The Valkyries are gathered together to find out the way to martial arts together. Hearing this, Yi Ming moved in his heart. To be honest, his pursuit of martial arts is not under anyone. If there is such a pure place, it is suitable for him. Naval God continued. Valley God Valley is a mutual aid group, with Valkyrie College and Valkyrie Trading Company. Valkyrie Academy specializes in cultivating martial art genius from various places, and the seedlings in it are no worse than the Immortal Temple. The Valkyrie Trading Company is jointly funded by everyone. There are darts, shops, etc. below. In short, Yi Wujun will not regret joining the Wushan Academy. Quote. Yi Ming said, "I will consider it carefully." The warriors knew that Yi Ming could not agree immediately, and after saying a few more words, they resigned. At this time, as soon as the Lord of the Immortal Temple waved his sleeves, everyone returned to the temple. At the Immortal Temple, Jin Xuanbai said, "Little brother, Wushan Valley is really good. You can join in. This is very helpful for your martial arts practice." Yi Ming wanted to know more about Wushan Valley, and asked, "Master has been to Wushan Valley?" Yes, when I was still Valkyrie, I once joined Valkyrie Valley. Unfortunately, I later gave up martial arts and chose to become a god, so I was disqualified from continuing. Jin Xuanbai shook his head gently. It's too difficult, I'm not sure. He continued. The people of Valkyrie Valley are close to each other and there is no conflict of interest. It does not look like a general force and looks loose. However, when one Valkyrie encounters a crisis, other Valkyrie tends to help each other, because everyone has the same beliefs, so they are closer than the relationship with the same door. That's fine. Yi Ming nodded. I will consider joining. However, Wushan Valley also has a disadvantage. Jin Xuanbai frowned slightly. Many of the strong in Wushan Valley, some will choose to pull out of the gang and form a community of interests. When you encounter such a force, you must be a young master, stay away from them. Yi Ming nodded. I understand. Tomorrow's Wuzun game will be played. Can you make a breakthrough tonight? Jin Xuanbai asked the most important thing. It should be possible, Yi Ming said. After my promotion to Yuanshan, my strength will improve qualitatively. I dare not say that I must win, at least not weaker than my opponent. Jin Xuanbai. At the stage of Wuzun, we only need to compete with the 5 elements and the Eternal God Mountain. For the Eternal God, you have 1 competition. For the 5 elements God, you have 5 competitions, each representing 5 territories. Yi Ming nodded. I see. Okay, you break through with all your strength, you can raise any needs, and the temple will satisfy you. Jin Zanbadao knows that from Wujun to Wuzun, sometimes he needs resources to help him. Yi Ming. I will. After the crowd left, Yi Ming remained alone in the practice room. His martial arts soul sits in the spiritual world, tall and mighty shores, magnificent stars and the sea. At this moment, a mighty air machine is brewing in the Fahu soul, and it is about to undergo metamorphosis. At the same time, a large number of Valkyrie coins were released by him, and they were poured into the spiritual world. It turned out that upgrading from Wujun to Wuzun often consumes a large amount of Wushan coins. Wushan coins are full of martial arts power, which can make martial arts gods complete. Yi Ming is sitting on 10 billion longevity coins, and naturally Wushan coins are not a problem. In order to make today's breakthrough, he has made full preparations and exchanged trillions of Wushan coins. Just as Yi Ming was about to break through, his spiritual world suddenly fell into a divine light, and the Lord of the Temple appeared in his spiritual world. The Lord of the Palace. Yi Ming paused. Why are you here? The Immortal Master smiled slightly. Tomorrow's test does not require you to participate. You have already secured enough benefits for us. Yi Ming was puzzled. How do you say this? My husband is here to help you achieve a powerful Yuanshan so that you can achieve greater achievements in the future. Dian Zudao said, every stage of your martial arts has reached the extreme. So I hope that you are in martial arts. Respect stage can also reach the extreme. Yi Ming. Oh, Wuzun also has the ultimate. What is it? The ultimate in Wuzun stage is called the power of Yuanshan. In Wujun stage, you have soul power, and you must understand the extraordinariness of soul power. Most Wujun, their soul power is far greater than physical power. At this stage, the power of Yuanshan possessed by Yuanshan is even more extraordinary. It has many incredible powers. In fact, in essence, Wuzun, Wusheng and Wushan have the same power. They are all the power of Yuanshan. Yi Ming knows that Wuzun condenses the Yuanshan, Wusheng marshals the babies, and the martial arts is in the form of a god. The essence of the 3 is actually the Yuanshan, but the forms are different. Therefore, the ancient warriors were more willing to call the people at the stage of Wuzun, Wusheng, and Wushen as the big warriors. The so-called Wusheng and Wushen in the later generations were just to connect with the titles of gods. I will tell you a method that only a few people know to become a peerless Wuzun.